started this program in 2009, and it started when the Taliban took over the Swat Valley, and then subsequently when the Pakistan Army came and they bombed Swat to get rid of the Taliban, almost 2 million people got displaced, and they became what were called IDPs. And that's the time, and being from the Swat Valley, I kept getting calls from people that were being displaced, that they had just come out because the army had just given them a 1 hour notice to get out of Swat so that they could start their bombing expedition. And so being from the Swat Valley, I was really disturbed by this. And, my family has a history in Swat. My great-grandfather and grandfather were rulers there. And literally for 5 generations, we've been helping the people. In fact, Swat was like a no man's land, tribal land, which had no infrastructure. And the first infrastructure was started by my great-grandfather, and then my grandfather continued after that. And Swat was known to have one of the highest education rates in rural areas.
So very humbly, you're saying that you have been rulers of Swat for generations, right?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
So I felt it was my responsibility, since our family's been working there for so long, to help the people. So when people started giving me calls, and they would wake me up at night because that was daytime for them. So
Right.
I would get very upset and have sleepless nights over that. And then my husband suggested, he was very, very involved with our organization. And if he had not helped me start it, I don't think I could have done it alone. So he gets a lot of credit. He passed away in 2018, but he was a big part of this organization. And all the basic structure was formed by him. So he just told me, let's go there, let's help the people. And all I could do was send an email to all my friends. And luckily, people were very generous. They supported me. I went there. I helped the refugees. And, we were able to provide a lot of help to them. And then when it was time for people to go back and the Taliban were removed from Swat, I went along with all the IDPs back to Swat. We were carrying
I was just going to say, so this initiative was basically born out of a tragedy, right?
Exactly. And Swat was known as, throughout its its history as a state, an independent state. Swat was always known for its peace, and we'd have a lot of tourists come there. But this was the first time we were seeing turmoil and, just the opposite happening. So I went back with the refugees. We even got shot at. We went back. Yes, we were carrying some medicine because there were 10% of the people had remained in Swat. So they needed medicine and supplies and all. So we were taking those, and, we had spoken to a few army people, but there was one post where I think the message hadn't gotten through. So they started firing at us, and we had to go back and then come again. So once we went back and helped people in this tragedy, we realized that because almost 400 schools had been destroyed by the Taliban, and those were schools that my grandfather and great-grandfather had built. So we had to start something long-term for them. So that's when I formed my organization, and we started helping people. And I felt it should be a holistic approach because, if we start education for young people, where do the women go?
Right.
The women have to have something to, improve their conditions as well. So we started a women's empowerment program. We started a healthcare program. We started an education program. We started a program for the environment and giving people clean water. Because even if you have healthcare and you don't have clean water, people can die. If you have education and you don't have empowerment of women, they can be left behind. So we did all this, and one of the biggest thing that we've started in Swat, and people do come and do some kind of social mobilization, but this is social mobilization is basically at the heart of our program.
Yeah, that's a novel
Because
concept. I wanted you to elaborate
yes.
on that. Yeah.
So this is something that we do, whichever village we work in or whatever area we work in,
Mm-hmm.
we try to organize the people into one entity. We get them to elect their, representatives, and the representatives elect the president, and we try to make them form an organization where every household is involved in the village. And
It's
so
a
these
community
people,
effort.
yes, so it's like it's like democracy at the
Mm-hmm.
grassroots level. Basically, that's what it is. And this is, I always tell people in America, because Western countries are really good at mobilizing and organizing themselves. And this is the thing that's lacking in third world countries. So I always tell them the best thing they can export to third world countries is this ability to mobilize, because then they can do something for themselves. So we do all these 5 programs in the Swat Valley, and so far we've been very successful. We built 6 of our own schools. 2 we run with an organization called Early Education Foundation, and then 2 it's in Swat and the rest of Pakistan. There are a lot of schools called ghost schools,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and these are schools that were built but were never sanctioned, and they don't have any students in them. So the
Wow.
building is there, but no
Mm-hmm.
students. So what we did with those schools was that we went to the government, organized the community, went to the government, lobbied for teachers and funds to pay for the teachers. And luckily, the government took ownership of those schools, brought in the teachers, and we SRI agreed with the government to renovate the schools for them, because they
Okay.
don't get funding for the schools for building structures. So we did that, and luckily we were able to make 2 schools functional.
Oh,
So we have those
that's
schools, and we
yeah.
still support those schools. If they have something, if they have a teacher that the government's not sending, they have we send a teacher there. If they need a well, so we're still supporting those schools.
So
And
even
then,
where the governments failed, where the government infrastructure
yes,
failed, you
exactly.
swooped in and kind of saved it.
Yeah, exactly. So those are schools we have too. And in the health sector, we cover almost 30,000 people.
Oh,
And
what's the population of Swat at the moment?
I think it's close to maybe 3 million.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we've covered with our health program, we cover 30,000 people, and we provide them with healthcare. Women, it's basically a mother-child healthcare program,
Okay.
and it's basically preventive and providing you know tertiary care for
Mm-hmm.